Hello, this is Santeri Kallio from Amorphis. Greetings from Moscow. And greetings to all the Mediator listeners.
Since we started with a discussion of you just coming back from Samara, do you usually have time to walk around, or you just it's a crazy roller coaster?
In this tour we've had pretty much time because we've been using airplanes a lot, so we wake up very early and we pretty much arrive pretty early. When you do the night train and stuff, it might you might not have that much time, but it's kind of a sacrifice. You have to decide if you go to sleep, to have a sleep before the show the whole day, or you go to the sightseeing. So it's kind of a sacrifice every time you do. Today I didn't go anywhere because I've been here so many times in Moscow. But for example, in Yekaterinburg and Vladivostok, we took, I would say, like a full sightseeing. We saw everything.
Nice. I never been to Vladivostok. So. Talking about Queen of Time album, can you tell a bit more about this idea with the orchestra? From what I understand, it was your producer who kind of was organizing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I see a certain interest among many musicians with working with a big orchestra.
Sure.
And what do you find in that? And do you have any further plans? I don't know, playing with it, or for example, live or.
It's logistically pretty difficult to play with an orchestra or like a. Well, it depends, but I don't know. We've been talking about it years and years, too, because there's kind of a symphonic elements in the music or ethnic elements, whatever elements. But at this time, it just felt right. We've been a little bit scared to put up like a real orchestra stuff to the albums. That we don't want to sound like a too symphonic metal, or in a worst case scenario, symphonic power metal, because we have our own style, which is maybe not that massive, and not has nothing to do with classical music that much. But I think the time was right for us to say yes to Jens, and it started already Under the Red Cloud. We had an orchestrator who made some small things, but in the mix they are pretty low in the mix, let's say, in Under the Red Cloud. But with Queen of Time, I think he had great connections to the Turkish string ensemble. They've been using it with Orphan Lando and some others. We thought that let's let him to do whatever he wants. Because after working with two albums, we pretty much knew that he's not gonna put it all over the place. There's still gonna be the main music will be Amorphis, but I don't know. It's been bubbling under years and years and years, and now we felt that it's time to do something a little bit differently.
Right.
I think it was definitely a risk, but it was definitely a good thing that we did it, because the Queen of Time sounds really unique because of the real instruments, top of the music.
And Jens, because from what I imagine, most of your albums are produced by Amorphis
At some point, yeah.
But so you don't have that many cases when you invite exterior producer. I mean, at least I see he kind of did the last two albums. So
we had a time when we used the Karelian and Tales are, I think, produced by Thomas Skogsberg from Sweden. And then we had the Tuonela and Ammuniversum time when there was Simon FME from England. And then there was a long period of time where we produced it ourselves. I don't know if we produced anything. We just recorded the albums by ourselves. Whatever there is, we recorded it, and then we gave it to the sound engineer. And then whoever wrote the song could go the mixing environment and say okay, let's do this and that. But
so what is it?
We didn't really produce anything.
Yeah,
we just made the albums by ourselves. Of course, we talked about a little bit of the things, like Leo could be growling and there could be melodic singing or solo here, but that's basically more like a arranging.
So what is it with Jens? Why you want to work with him now, and like how is it?
Well, we just needed some change. Well, it started actually already in Circle in 2012 or something when we asked Peter Tegfred from Hypocrisy to produce the Circle. I think we a little bit got stuck to our own methods. There was nothing new coming out, you know. We did Eclipse, Skyforger, Eclipse, Silentwater, Skyforger, and the beginning of times with the same method. And I think we started to get bored with it, and we also kind of probably felt that at the beginning of times that with this method, if we keep on doing this the same, they are going to be pretty similar, all the albums. Also, we knew that the lyrical context, it wasn't about the Kalevala character. We already decided that let's do something else and ask, let's get out of this box. So it was the right time to stop. Also, when we changed the lyrical context, it was also the right time to stop using the same method to reproduce by Amorphis method. You know.
How was working with Peter Tegfred?
Well, it was fun. He's a hard-working man. You know, he worked like, oh my God, his days last like 15 hours. He was working all the time, and it was fun. It was fun. He came to Helsinki, and I think we recorded something like 4 to 5 weeks in Helsinki, and he was working his ass off, and then we went to then he started to mix it in Abyss. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in countryside in Sweden, and then we went to the Abyss when he was mixing. It was a lot of fun, you know. He brought a couple of new ideas we haven't thought about, and especially he tried to make us sound more heavier with the heavier guitar sounds, and he had a couple of good ideas. And because we were really happy with Peter after Circle, we wanted to go even deeper and ask Jens, because Peter is also a musician. He's very busy all the time and he's running around the globe all the time with bands. But Jens is sitting basically in the studio 365 days a year. So we wanted to get one like a even deeper production-wise, you know.
Right.
So
How long does it take to
with
make
Jens?
to make an album?
Normally, always Amorphis album takes like 5 to 6 weeks. It hasn't changed even when we produce it ourselves.
Yeah.
And with Peter and with Jens. Only difference I noticed with Jens is that when the mixing phase is quite short, you know, because he's been doing it all the time during the recording. So it doesn't last like, normally the mixing would for 10 songs plus a couple of bonus songs would take like 2 weeks, like a song per day or stuff like that, 10 days. But I think Jens does it faster because he uses assistants who make the dirty work, you know, clean up the tracks and all that kind of shit. And nobody actually knows because we don't know what he's doing in the studio when we are not there. Because we go back to Finland, he keeps working with choirs and with the real instruments and guest musicians. But I would say it's probably something like 6 weeks, and it has been like 5 weeks, years. It was already in Tuonela times. 5 weeks was the classic time too.
On the latest album, there is a song B, and B is also in the imagery of the album. Like it kind of becomes quite a theme, no?
Yeah, exactly. We work with Val Noir, the cover artist.
Yeah.
We actually sent him, like we did with Red Cloud, that we sent him some translated texts.
Yeah.
And he picked up, as we all can see, he picked up the B to be in a very strong focus in the album. So we are quite happy that the song B turned out to be so good, because if it would have been a bonus track, it wouldn't have made any sense that we have the like art is about the B, but the B is not in the album. But we are happy that it turned out so well that it's in the album, and it's actually the first song, and it's also first song we released. And tonight when we play in Moscow, it will be the first song of the set.
And like you were writing the
Yeah.
music, right? And the collaborator who writes the lyrics, he's also an artist, right? The
Pekka Kainolainen. He's a performance artist. I think he's a painter, sculpturist. He also makes improvised performances.
How did you meet him?
Actually, it's a funny story. It's our singer, Tommy. He's from Lohja, from Finland, and he said to us when we were thinking like we need somebody to write the lyrics, and he said like he knows one guy from his hometown, near his hometown, and that he's been investigating. Is it known? It's not the right word. Exploring Kalevala, all his life, and he's living like as a Kalevala artist. And he said like when they were young in school, they like in the middle of some mathematical class, they watched out of the window, and he was there naked in the snow, making some performance for the kids, or with the reindeer stuff, and so we immediately thought that this is a very good idea for us, because we are looking for something more than just a plain normal pop lyrics about I think we also gave first Pekka wrote some like Silent Warriors is about Kalevala, Skyforger is about Kalevala, Beginning of Time is about Kalevala, but Circle is not about Kalevala, and so we kind of like moved away from Kalevala with him. So he's really professional. We love to work with him. And sometimes he joins us to the show, to do the performances, so he can do anything.
Is imagery or like...
No, he's been doing like performance stuff, talking and acting and stuff, like in the middle of the set. I think he was with us in under the Red Cloud special show in a cultural week, Helsinki Cultural Week.
Yeah.
He had like a performance, and he was with us in a Queen of Time tour in Helsinki Ice Hall. And somewhere else. And I think, I'm not sure, but I hope that he will join us also in Tuska next year, when this year, when we do the full Queen of Time from beginning till the end. It would be.
The whole album?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but we have a Queen of Time special show in Province Rock and in Tuska in Helsinki. It's the same weekend, and Anneke will be there to perform.
I'm going to both of them.
Oh yeah, they are one after each other. And Anneke will be there performing the songs she wants, probably Among Stars and maybe something else. We haven't really planned it yet.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
It's always challenging to play the whole album in a row. I think we played in a row. Normally we do.
Have you done that?
Not Queen of Time, no. But in Circle we played in the first show we did in Circle World Tour. We played it as it is, in Helsinki. And Under the Red Cloud, I think we played it when we did the Helsinki Cultural Week. We played Under the Red Cloud as it is. And now we're going to do at least 2 special shows. There might be more, but so far I think I haven't seen. There's Province Rock and Tuska in Finland.
What was your personal way into music, and like how did you start?
Pretty basic stuff. When I was 4 or 5 years old, I had a big sister and big brother, and they started to play piano. So obviously I couldn't avoid it. My mother keeps saying I wanted to play. Of course, maybe I had some, as a 4-year-old, some sort of a image like it's fun, but it's not actually fun to learn scales and play classical music. This was in late 70s. And then I moved to the blues and pop and rock, and finally I started to join the bands. Pretty basic story. Well, I learned piano first, couple of years classical. I think I was 11. Then I said like, fuck this is boring. And then I got a blues teacher who taught me boogie and stuff. And then I went to the pop jazz school. And there I learned a little bit of the theory. But you already know the theory if you've been playing piano, classical piano. And some chord, the music theory and something to recognize chords with the ear and stuff. But no, just normal, basically normal piano lessons till 18 years old, and then I quit it. Or 20, no, 18.
Amorphis usually about when you read about you something, all journalists kind of define the genre in a very different way. And I was wondering, like, I guess you don't want to anyhow like label yourselves to any genre, but I was actually wondering, like, do you have any influences or any like favorite bands which are not like, which probably wouldn't spring to mind when you talk about rock musicians or like, I don't know, metal music, like what do you listen to, which is strange to...
I never listened that much metal except when I was young in the 80s, you know, and I still listen to those bands, and they play in the radio, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Zeppelin, Motorhead. But I don't know, it changes a lot sometimes, but I think in our band we like pretty much all kind of music. In the tour bus, we stayed in a tour bus with Soilwork. I don't think it was a couple of nights out of 35 when we were actually listening metal, and it wasn't like pretty heavy metal. Okay. It was more like 80s metal, you know, right. But Dio or Old Rainbow. But we were mostly listening pop music or at least kind of a retro music, maybe that's the right word. Okay. But I like all kind. I'm a keyboard player. I like all kind of music, even disco music or psychedelic music or progressive music, you know, anything which is good, you know, or jazz, but it has to be good and it can't be boring, you know. It doesn't matter what it is, but there's so many heavy metal bands nowadays. It's very hard to find, you know, the interesting ones. There's a lot of similar sounding bands at the moment, especially now when the glam rock came back, you know. Sometimes when I listen to radio and there's a new like a retro glam rock band, it's really hard to know who are these guys, because you already know 10 of them who's doing pretty much the same sound. Also the speed metal is coming, but you might have some problems to even recognize the band from the sound. But of course it's difficult, there's so many bands.
Who stands out for you?
Only the good ones stand out, and the interesting ones. And the bands which are not boring, they stand out. That's the
do you...
universal law.
Whom?
Oh, whom?
Yeah.
Well, I'm quite fascinated by Lepros from Norway, you know. It's pretty good. They're getting better and better all the time. And they are friends of ours. We toured with them like almost 10 years ago. We did 2 tours in a row. They were supporting us in Europe. And they are... I think the new stuff it's getting really, really good. Well, it's always been good, but it's, you know, when it gets deeper and more focused all the time. Also the new, well, I'm excited to hear the new Tool album. I haven't heard it, but it's probably going to be good. I would take a wild guess, but I haven't heard it yet. And what else? The new Soen from Sweden, that's kind of like a progressive metal stuff, but it sounded very interesting. Somebody was listening it in our backstage in the European tour. I think that they've also found finally like the golden goose, how the Germans say, or whoever.
Okay, well, last question, I guess, because we're already in. What's in the future? Plans?
After tomorrow, after St. Petersburg show, we go back to Finland, and I think we have a 2 or 3 weeks break, and then we go to South America for the first real South American tour. I think last time we already had some tryout for 6 shows or 7 shows. Now we have like 12. So we do Brazil, El Salvador, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, hopefully about. And then it takes like 3 weeks. Then we have 1 month off, and then the festival season starts. We do most of the weekends in the summer in Europe. And after the summer we go to America to do a second leg of the Queen of Time North American tour. We go there with Delane and Anneke from Rinsbergen. It's like 30 shows, and I haven't seen the schedule after that, but I think we're gonna fill up the rest of the year with another Finnish shows maybe from Queen of Time, because we only did 10. And in the beginning of 2020, we are planning to do a second European tour. And then we have our 30 years anniversary for the band, so maybe we start another tour anniversary. No, I don't know. To be honest, it's too far, but there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
And probably after that, some album what we did in the past is also has an anniversary, so we can try to think about that. Or the normal option is also to go to the studio and make a new album. But everything's open. We are now only focused on touring our asses off and play the Queen of Time to as many people as we can in a short period of time.
How do you feel? I mean, it's a dumb question because but everyone always answers differently. What is better, touring or recording?
Which one is fun?
Which one you like more?
Touring, absolutely.
Touring.
I don't enjoy recording at all. Of course, it's very nice when it's done, and practicing the songs are very nice. But to actually record it, and it has to be right, and it will be there forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it at all.
Big responsibility.
Yeah. Well, think about it. If you play a solo for the album, it's there for till the end of time. If you fuck it up, there's a lot of stress. There's a little bit of creativity. Depends. With me, I normally improvise in the studio, but I have some lines, but all the solos, everything are improvised. But to make the decisions, the final decisions, it's not fun because we are making art. But eventually, I like touring because there you can a little bit. You can improvise and you can be creative, and you can also, as a band, try to be as good as you can, playing wise.
Okay, but before recording, you have also a creative process to actually come up with that.
Yeah, we have to. We practice the songs. We compose the songs, then we practice the song. Then producer comes and a little bit make the final changes. Yeah.
So composing is also hard, or you?
That's very hard also, but once you get it going, it might be actually pretty easy and fun. But sometimes it takes a hell of a lot of time to get it going. It might take months. But I think we are getting better with that too, And the more you stress about it, the more in more trouble you will be, because it's actually the real work is the composing.
How do you usually do? Is it you create the whole music and then the text?
Yeah, first. Well, the text might be there. Normally it is, because Pekka is super fast. If we ask him a context, it might come in a month. But to compose the songs and record the album, it takes total process a couple of months.
So you do it in parallel? He does it together?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes he came up with a concept even we don't have a single song.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your time.